How are you? Good.
What's that like bag thing on the back of your truck? Is that like so
For
you
my-
don't scratch or something?
For my bike.
So how does it work?
So the front tire goes over the tailgate, and then it just like Velcros on,
Oh,
and so it stands upright with the front tire over the front.
so it's got a sleeve for the front tire on the front and the back?
No, it's just like the tailgate that has that thing over it. It has like little foam like pads that have a space between them. So you just put the like the front tire on the outside of the tailgate,
Okay.
and it just goes flat up against the back of the tailgate, and then your bike's just in there.
Oh,
So it's a bike rack.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so it cuts down so I can like have other stuff in
Yeah.
the back.
Yeah.
But you know, because the bike itself doesn't really fit unless it's on an angle. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like in Utah or something and saw some mountain bikers had it, and I was like, that's a good idea. And you know, they're easier than having to take them off the tail, like
Yeah.
the hitch ones.
Yes.
They're kind of a pain. I didn't want to get a big rack because I'm like, I can't climb up there. I'm
Yeah.
too short. So that it's perfect.
Yeah.
So.
Board of Education, September 12th, 2022 at 6:32. Please call the roll.
Mr. Williams.
Here.
Ms. Rayford.
Here.
Mr. Brosco.
Here.
Mr. Grunberg.
Here.
Dr. Early here. Mr. Ward and Ms. DeVita excused.
If we could stand for the pledge, Dan will lead us.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
All right.
Next, I need a motion for approval of the agenda. Just a reminder that item, what is it? It's, I'll get my note right. That's 8B. That is the, there is no action on that one.
No action on 8B?
Yeah, that's just informational.
Okay.
So is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Place forth a motion to approve the agenda as written.
Support.
Question.
Yes.
Few weeks ago, I sent in some ideas, some thoughts I had about agenda items being added for this meeting. Was there a reason why they weren't put on this meeting, or are we going to put that off to another?
Well, yeah, you send it out to all the other board members, and I generally will wait to make sure that there's at least two board members, because past practice and policy in the past was at least two board members has to ask for it to be placed on the agenda. So if you want something to place on the agenda, you need to get another board member to support that.
Okay, so, but I could ask for agenda items to be placed on at the meeting.
We've never really had that.
We've never had this past
I
practice.
mean, if you want to ask that something be, then I guess we can vote to add it to the agenda. I mean, we're going to hold a vote on this first.
Okay,
And then if you have a vote, then if you want to make a motion, we can vote on that motion after. So, please call the vote.
Mr. Roscoe.
Yes.
Mr. Williams.
Yes.
Ms. Rayford.
no.
Mr. Grunberg.
Yes.
Dr. Early, yes.
Motion carries. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
What are we gonna, was she bringing hers to the table?
What's that?
Was Mary bringing hers to the table?
I mean, she can put a motion to add something
That's
to
what
the
I'm saying.
agenda if she wants.
Well, I mean, if it's going to take two to do anything with it, I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen since people had time to look at it. I'm not going to bother.
Just wanted to make sure you get your motion in.
Okay.
No.
Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
Place motion for the consent agenda, to approve the consent agenda.
Support. Any discussion? Please call the vote.
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Rayford,
No.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes.
Dr. Early, yes.
Next, we have superintendent's report. Superintendent?
Um,
Yes.
Point of instruction. Can we be transparent in what she was trying to do so everybody knew what was going on?
As far
She
as,
wanted to bring a motion to the table she had some.
No, I sent,
Yeah, go ahead.
I sent everyone an email with some thoughts I had about
Right.
some changes. And they were just my thoughts, and I wanted to know people to have, ahead of time, so they'd have time to think about it. But apparently, that was not done, so,
Okay, we just want to be transparent.
not a problem.
Superintendent Gibson?
Thank you so much, Board President Grunberg. This evening, I'd like to welcome to the podium LaShawn Baskin. LaShawn graciously ran the Eastpointe Community Schools Summer School program this summer and is going to share with you a little bit more about the program. But first, I want to make sure that we acknowledge that Ms. Baskin is a teacher here in Eastpointe Community Schools, and in the capacity of spreading her wings and growing and developing here, stepped up to be the principal of our summers program. So first and foremost, a huge thank you to LaShawn, Loretta Fisher, and all the staff of the summer school for providing this opportunity for our children. Turn it over to LaShawn. Thank you, LaShawn.
Thank you, Superintendent Gibson. And hello, everyone. I had the honor of being the principal over summer school, and I just wanted to share with you some highlights throughout the summer. Our students had an amazing time learning. They had an amazing time being in the environment with teachers and their friends. So if you look at the slide, there were some things that I wanted to point out. First of all, the program was held in our middle school. And we had 2 sessions this summer. We had 2 3-week sessions, which ran from July 5th through the July 21st. And then the second session ran from the 25th of July to August 11th. We had it was from 8:30 to 2:30 or 2:15. And then we had a combination of MISD programs, which were held in the morning. That was the instructional component. And then our students had the pleasure, they actually enjoyed the enrichment activities in the PM as well. Transportation was provided, and they received breakfast and lunch. Next slide. Here is a breakdown of the programs that we had. We had Kinder Connect, which it was an MISC program, but it was an intense focus on letter sound, reading, and center-based learning. This was available to students who were going into kindergarten. And then we had our first fundamentals. That program was intense, and it focused on language arts, and it was teacher-led activities. There was guided reading components and small group lessons where the teacher focused on the program and the students, the program and the student needs. We had STEM literacy. The STEM literacy, those students were for grades 2 through 5, and their focus was on hands-on science, technology, engineering, and math, and it was done through reading informational text. We also had summer scholars. Again, that was 2 through 5, and its focus was language arts and math. And then we had Math Mindset. That was an MISC program which focused on literacy, math, and science, and those students were grouped by grade levels. That was our middle school component, but the main focus was math. Next slide. The rest of our morning session consisted of middle schoolers participating in Readers and Writers, and that program was intense also. Its focus was reading and writing, and it provided opportunities for our middle schoolers to read, write, and discuss ideas with their peers daily. And then we had our special education programs, which focused on the reading skills. They worked in small groups with our students and one-on-one instruction. In the afternoon, after the students had lunch, they would proceed to participate in enrichment activities. And some of the enrichment activities are as follows. They had different forms of art. They had 2D art, 3D art. They played puzzles, did exercises, computers, graphic art, art hub. They did yoga, dance movement, lots of exercise, direct draw, paper crafting, math games to build those skills. There were more, but that was just a few to mention. And then throughout our program, we just have some pictures and videos that I thought you could see what the program looked like. So we had the first set of slides for our smaller children. Then we have our summer scholars, and if you can look to the right, we have a student working on the Promethean board. We'll talk more about that later. Next slide. We have our STEM and literacy there. We have our students to the left who made a bird feeder, and we had students in the middle. You'll see a lot of slides. In this slide, they were building, and they were trying to see how much they could put on, what was the capacity to hold those particular pencils, books, everything. And so they had a good time with that. And then to the right, we had students who were measuring and looking at different colors and how they formed. Next slide. We have our readers and writers here. And this program was really interesting because some of the students were hesitant. Their parents signed them up for reading and writing, but when they got in there, they really enjoyed it. And so it was really a joy to see how they really took on those books. They were able to pick their own books. They were able to take books home. And it was really, you'll see in the survey data that they really enjoyed that. Next slide. Then we had our special education program. There were multiple programs based on age that were being held. So we have students to the left, students in the middle, students to the right, and they were being serviced based on their needs. They had a blast. If you notice, in the middle to the left, they were showing how much they knew adding and subtracting. So they would throw the ring, and then they would have to add up if it went inside. So that was just something to keep their attention. We have our students in the center working one-on-one, and then our students to the right in small groups. Next slide. This is a teacher cadet. The young ladies to the left, they were in a program that Diane Peters will explain in a moment, but they were working with our students one-on-one. They were working in groups. They supported the students, but also the teachers as well. Can you click the video, please? Diane will explain that.
I had a wonderful summer with my teaching cadets. So this was a new program that was initiated by the ISD that our district adopted. We were able to hire, and they actually got paid, high schools to come in and work with our students in a role similar to a paraprofessional. So these students greeted our students at the door. They
So
helped
what
them
she's
with lunch,
saying
and
is
then
the
they were
young
able to
ladies
even do, like,
that were in the
one-on-one.
program,
We had them.
they came in and she worked with them. In the beginning, they wanted to become teachers, and then in the middle, they saw how taxing and how hard it was, and so they were like, I don't know if I want to do this. But in the end, what really shone through with all of them was their passion for the kids. They took on those kids, and they acted as if they were mothers and teachers to these children. And the love that they shared with them, the kids were able to open up with them. By them being in that classroom, it offered more one-on-one attention. It offered students to have small groups, and it just gave another person in the classroom to work with, and they learned a lot. It's a program that is through the MISD as well, but those students were paid. It was their job to come there, and it was so rewarding for them, the students, and for us as well. Next slide. Okay, our attendance data. When we first started, we had 179 students that registered for the summer program, but only 132 students attended. They attended at least one day. With that, we noticed that our parents, they wanted their students to participate, and the students wanted to participate, but then if you notice, we averaged 80 students per day, so that was a little bit of a conversation that we had to have. And talking with parents, they just felt that sometimes our students needed a break. With everything that's been going on, they felt that their students sometimes just couldn't do the 4 days or the 3 weeks, so they would pull them, let them stay home. So they were coming back and forth, but a lot of them carried through, and those 3 weeks, some stayed the entire 6 weeks, but they learned a lot, and they had so much fun with learning. The average number of students in the classroom Daily was 8, which led to more individualized and small group instruction. It's not to say that 8 students were in all classes. Some classes may have had 15, some may have had 5, but on average, it was 8 students, and our students were able to, the teachers were able to maximize that learning time. So we did parent surveys, and we did parent surveys, student surveys, and parent, student, and staff surveys. So I wanted to share a few with you. The first one says, how satisfied are you with the quality of instruction given to your student? As you can see, most of our parents were a lot of our parents were very satisfied. Many were satisfied, and some were somewhat satisfied. When you add all of that up, that's 40, 60, 80%, almost 90% of our students, our parents were satisfied with the quality that they had gotten with the instruction. What did you like about the program? I won't read all of those, but I will highlight a few. Someone said the fact that my son said he enjoyed summer, my kids enjoyed it, the extra help with reading and preparing for kindergarten was appreciated. If you could click on the video, we can hear something from our parent.
Carol, my grandson goes here this morning, he just, that's this morning, no, oh. He loves this program. He's learning how to add different things. He loves his teachers and stuff. He really loves this program. I'm so happy they had it. I really am. But I wanted him to stay home with me, but he wouldn't.
So that's a lot. We heard a lot of those comments in summer school. The parents, when they picked up the kids or when they brought them in the morning, a lot of them talked about how the kids were excited to be there and were glad they were there. And if you look at this piece of information, it says, are you likely to participate in the program again? And so most of our parents said yes, they will participate. Our student surveys, how satisfied are you with how the summer school staff responds to your needs? Most of the questions were the same. I just wanted you to see a variety of the questions. And as you can see, most of our students were satisfied with how they were treated by our staff. What did you like about the program? There were 58 responses, and where you see the stars, the little asterisk, the stars, that means that comment was said multiple times, and I didn't want to write it down. I just wanted you to get a glimpse. Some of them were that we learned a lot. We can get snacks, that was popular. Going outside, recess was everywhere. The reading time, students really appreciate it, and seeing that in the data, them saying that they appreciated having time for reading, that really stood out to me. They liked learning. They loved their teachers. They made new friends. Of course, that was big. Recess was huge. Something that I wanted to highlight was playing with the big kids. That was that enrichment piece because the students were allowed to intermingle, and some big kids were allowed to help the little kids. And so them working together, there were several kids that made a comment about being able to work with the big kids. They get to learn new things. They got to learn fun stuff. So as you read those, it's just really indicative as to the program. That not only did they play and have fun, which they were learning when they were playing and having fun, but they also appreciated being able to learn something new and reading and math and so on. Next slide.
I love
Oh, video.
football.
Okay, you can't hear them, but one little guy said, I like football, because we asked them what did they like about the program. One said he liked football, the other one said he liked basketball, and the other one said he liked math because it teaches them or something like that. It was really cute. So, of course, the football, the sports, but the other one had that academic piece in there as well. Are you likely to participate in the program again? These are student responses. As you can see, most would, or maybe. Our staff survey, how satisfied are you with the teaching and learning that takes place in summer school? In summer school, it was stressed the importance of having that short amount of time. We only had the kids for 4 hours in terms of the MISD program, so it was really important that they understood that we had to maximize that time. And so as you can see, most of the teachers or staff said that they were very satisfied with the teaching and learning that took place. Okay, some staff comments. I enjoyed teaching face-to-face with the students and providing extra help they needed. the ability to spend money on enrichment activities, they appreciated that because those enrichment activities it was something that was different. And so teachers were able to do something different with the kids and were supported with getting those materials. And then great deal of teaching and learning every day. That was an expectation. They knew that teaching and learning had to take place every day. Next slide. Oh, can we hear?
Hi, I'm Mr. Ostrowski. I'm at Eastpointe High School. I'm doing summer school for 2 years in a row now. This is a fantastic trend. I think after COVID and everything, every student could use a little bit of enrichment in the areas of reading, mathematics, and science. We have a lot of fun. Come join us.
Okay, next slide. Okay, how satisfied are you with the culture and climate of summer school? It was the expectation that everyone, students and staff, had to be respectful, responsible, and safe. And every Monday we had a conversation about what that looked like and what the expectations were. And as you can see, very satisfied. There were 62% of our staff felt that they were everyone was being respectful, responsible, and safe. And then everyone else was satisfied. Okay, next slide. Staff comments, of course, I'm not going to read all of that, but the school climate that Mrs. Baskin established is one of high expectations and a very comfortable learning environment. Teachers and principals work together well to create a culture of learning and playing. I met so many new teachers in summer school, and everyone had such a great attitude about the program, making the culture positive. And students and staff alike were extremely respectful, and it was enjoyable. So that was the consensus throughout the summer. I repeatedly heard students and staff talk about how great summer school was. It felt great, and they were glad to be there. And then, are you likely to participate in the summer school programs? Again, as you can see the data, most said yes, but let's keep in mind it was summer, and this was a super hot summer. So I understand the no for sure and the maybe, but thank you, Mrs. Gibson, or Superintendent Gibson, for bringing those air conditioners to the school. That made a huge difference to the students and the staff, and we really appreciated that. And then staff comments, I don't know if you'll be able to hear them, but the young lady to the left, she's a paraprofessional, she's new, and she spoke to being in the district and how she enjoyed coming to summer school working with the students. She worked in the capacity of doing small group instruction with our students, and she really enjoyed working with them, and the students enjoyed working with her. And then the young man to the right, he is also a paraprofessional, but he worked with our special ed population, and he talked about just having a great environment and how the students benefited from the program. Next slide. And then the new technology, one of the pictures had the Promethean boards, and I just wanted to highlight this because this young man explained to us what he enjoyed about the about getting the Promethean board, and I really wish we could hear him because he did a really good job explaining it.
Good.
Oh.
Okay, what about the end board?
I like the motherboard because two rooms. Do math problems. 3 equals 8. D. E.
Okay, so we can stop there, but what he did was so amazing. First of all, the fact that he decided that he wanted to share this with us, he explained a math problem, he wrote out the ABCs, and as he was teaching us, you would have seen that everything he said, he was a teacher. He was writing as he spoke, and I just thought that was so amazing. He talked about learning about text features and how you could use those on the Promethean board. He talked about how you could change the color and that everything pops out. You can change the color to get people attention. And then he talked about, it was something else he said that was really, he talked about how if you make a mistake, you don't have to wait for a computer guy to come tomorrow to fix it. You can get the eraser and fix it yourself. So I thought that was amazing, the fact that he was able to articulate that for us. And so that concludes the slide presentation. I thank you again, Superintendent Gibson, it was a really good experience for our students. They learned, they had fun while they were learning. The teachers appreciated being there. And I think next year we'll have a pretty good turnout. Hopefully we can get another crew in to do the same thing. It was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Baskin, and we appreciate your leadership as well as all of the teachers who took the time this summer to be part of our summer school program. Thank you so very much. Also this evening, Board of Education, just want to update you on some other things happening around the district. As you know, we've been welcoming back our students to our schools. We've had some lovely, successful back-to-school events at Bellevue as well as at Pleasant View. We do have more back-to-school events happening this week. Forest Park had their parent meetings, and all grade levels invited families into the classrooms and worked on creating relationships with parents and partnership. We've also been celebrating, I'd like to highlight a few of our building community partnerships. AT&T Pioneers donated 50 backpacks to Pleasant View, and we were grateful to have Senator Michael McDonald and his office staff come down to celebrate with us. Miss Riola Hammond, a community member, has decided to adopt Pleasant View Elementary School. And she came and donated supplies as well as 4 $50 gift cards to Pleasant View for their Positive Vibes door decorating contest. So she donated items so that staff could get prizes. And then next, the First Baptist Church of Eastpointe donated to our Early Learning Center childhood special education classrooms, homework bags with supplies for all of the children. So we are grateful to the ladies of First Baptist, Miss Riola Hammond, as well as AT&T for supporting the work that we do here in Eastpointe Community Schools. Coming up next in the district, we continue to have registration open online and available at central office. School of Choice is open until September 30th. We will continue to have back-to-school events. Tomorrow evening, Forest Park and Crescentwood will be hosting their welcome back events for families. Board members and community, you are welcome to attend to learn more about our schools and our amazing staff. We are looking forward to community members participating in the strategic planning process. Those meetings do begin the 27th of September. There is a form on the district website where any interested parties could express that they're interested in joining that committee. This week we have volleyball versus Madison on Wednesday night, and our girls volleyball team did shut down Lincoln last week, 3 sets. So we've got some exciting volleyball happening, and then a little Shamrock football action at Memorial Stadium. I know Dan Zander will be there, 7 p.m. So I hope that you'll all consider joining us, and that concludes the superintendent's report this evening.
Okay, next we have first hearing of the public. We'll open that at 6:58. Does anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close that at 6:58. We'll move on to discussion action. Item 8A, MASB Delegate Assembly Certification of Delegates. I think Ed already said that he was interested in being one. Is there anybody else? I plan on being there, so. You want to be? Okay. Well, then I will put forth a motion to, you're going? You're going, right? Okay, because we need 2 alternates. I guess that'll be us.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, well, I will put forth the motion to approve Mr. Ed Williams and Dr. Geneva Early to be our representatives as delegates at the MASB conference this year, and that myself and Mr. Roscoe will be the alternates. Is there support for that motion? Support. Please call a vote.
Mr. Grunberg,
Yes?
Mr. Roscoe,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mrs. Rayford,
Yes.
Dr. Early, yes.
Okay, next we have curriculum. This is no action. It's the return to in-person instruction and continuity of services plan 2022-23.
Yep. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board, as well as community members. This evening, Eastpointe Community Schools Curriculum Department is presenting the Return to Learn and Continuity of Services Plan. Pre-K-5, our students will be full in-person teaching and learning Secondary, 6 through 12, we will be using a hybrid model of learning, which will consist of alternating days face-to-face. This plan is being presented to the community this evening so that at the second hearing of the public, any community members wishing to have feedback on our plan can do so. We will also have the plan posted on our website. The mitigation strategies that we will be doing. We first have the CDC's rules, so the CDC will determine the COVID-19 community level for the county. Based on the community COVID-19 level in consultation with the Macomb County Health Department, the district will determine the number of mitigation strategies to implement to foster optimal learning environments while simultaneously ensuring the health and safety of our students. So the district will use a range as we go through this document this evening of low, medium, or high. These will comply with any and all of the local, state, and federal mandates. So the first one is the recommended prevention and mitigation strategies. For our instructional format, again, we are offering pre-K through 5, in-person learning, and hybrid learning 6-12. Those will happen in low and medium ranks. When we move to high, in-person instruction will occur, but we may have some classes, grades, or buildings that would be moved or temporarily moved based on the requirements of the health department. The same will happen with athletics. In a low and medium environment, we will continue to offer regular athletic practices and competitions. And then as deemed, if we are deemed in a high or risk area, we will make modifications to competitions as well as practices to be compliant with any safety and health protocols that deem. And we will follow the guidelines of the Michigan High School Athletic Association as well. Athletic testing will not be required by the district unless it is mandated by MHSSA. We will follow regular and cleaning disinfecting protocols under the low or medium format. And if we shift to high, we will increase the cleaning and disinfecting procedures in our classrooms and our building. For cohorting, we will be mixing of students and will not be restricted. If we get to a high level, we would consider modifications to how we would cohort and group students to mitigate and control health conditions. COVID-19 testing will not be required, but will be offered to families. For extracurricular and field trips, we will occur and have those as scheduled in low and medium environments. If we get to a high environment, we will modify our extracurricular activities in compliance with the Macomb County Health Department's guidelines. Face covering and masks currently are staff, students, volunteers, and visitors are recommended to wear masks if they are unvaccinated or if they have immunocompromised systems, and that will continue for low and medium environments. In a high environment, we may choose to require masks if the Macomb County Health Department guidelines require that we do. The same for food service. We will operate normal food service in low and medium environments. In a high environment, we would make modifications to our health and safety protocols under the direction of the Macomb County Health Department. Same for the gathering and use of facilities. We will not have restrictions on gatherings or the use of facilities in low or medium environments, and we will have restrictions on gathering size or use of facilities for outside agencies as directed by the Macomb County Health Department if we are needing to quarantine. Hand hygiene and respiratory etiquette. We will continue to have hand sanitizing stations available and encourage in all environments the safe hand washing practices. Isolation and quarantine. Again, the district will follow the guidance of the Macomb County Health Department. In-district conferences, meetings and conferences, we will occur in low, medium, or high. We will make modifications. The world has changed since COVID, and we're already offering some meetings virtually and some meetings face-to-face, and we'll continue to use the discretion depending on what environment we find ourselves in. Our offices will be open to visitors under medium and low. However, in high conditions, we may choose to put additional safety protocols in place. Visitors and guests are already allowed to come back into our schools now. They do have to follow our sign-in procedures, as well as we would ask them to do a self-screen before entering our buildings. We may choose to limit guests and visitors if it is deemed appropriate to do so. Remote and virtual learning. The district does offer a high school full virtual option. We are exploring how to support students and families who have situations where remote or virtual learning may be necessary, such as in the event of a homebound health requirement that does not allow a child to attend our schools. Social distancing. We will not be social distancing in low or medium environments. We will put in appropriate and feasible social distancing measures if we are deemed to be in a high environment. And finally, health screening. Parents, guardians, staff should all conduct daily wellness checks, and students should not be sent to school if they are sick. Families are just another reminder that if you are seeking COVID testing for your student, please do not send them to school while you are awaiting the results. If they are sick enough to have them tested for COVID, they are sick enough for you to keep at home to keep our educational environments sound and safe. Finally, we have listed out our expectations for student illness and the control of communicable diseases as required in this plan. Transportation will occur as normal in low or medium environments, and we would put modifications in a high environment. The district is not requiring staff or students to be fully vaccinated. However, we would encourage families to follow the recommendations by the Macomb County Health Department and the CDC. They are now offering booster number 5 is available for those who are eligible. And we have heard from the county health department that some companies are exploring having flu and COVID vaccinations simultaneously. And we will update the community as we get more information from the Macomb County Health Department. This does conclude the district's return to learn and continuity of services plan as required. And we would invite the public to come to the microphone during the second session of the public if there is any feedback about the safety plan that we have in place to continue to provide instruction. Thank you, Board of Education and Community.
Okay, that brings up second hearing of the public, which is an appropriate time to come if you have any questions or comments, I guess. We'll open that up at 7:08. Does anyone wish to be heard? Does anyone wish to be heard? Seeing none, we'll close that at 7:08. Next, we have trustees' announcements. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Mr. President. Welcome back, students and staff, and hope you all had a great summer. We have a few more days of beautiful weather, and then we have Indian summer to look forward to. So I'm excited about that. Congratulations to all the new hires, principals, and congratulations to our girls volleyball team for winning last week. Thank you to all the donations from Ms. Hammond, AT&T, Ms. McDonald, and all the people that donated to the schools. We're looking forward to a great school year. Parents, come out and join us at these meetings, and thank you for allowing me to serve you. That'll be all.
Thank you. Ms. Rayford.
Thank you. I've had a really interesting time for the last few weeks. I met all the principals. Didn't get a chance to wish Val back because the building was closed when I went over there. But I also had a chance to participate in Pleasant View and Bellevue back-to-school activities, and thankful for the principals for acknowledging me to the parents. It's been, it's going to be interesting now, also because I'm one of those people that likes following protocol, to file my and achieve official volunteer status, complete with background check. So, and I've told all the principals if they need a hand other than substituting, I'd be more than happy to help. Will not substitute, that's not going to happen. But alerted them to actually have pretty decent clerical skills. So, and the day I went over to Crescent View, they were a little short. So I don't mind throwing in where I can to help the district accomplish all of its goals during this time. You know, it's bad enough we have a teacher shortage, but sometimes people get sick and people are not in. And I'm more than happy to do that. So I'm looking forward to all the good things and welcoming all the new staff. Hope they have a really great year. Hope we're not losing anybody anytime soon, like not until next, June? July. So it's going to be a good year. I'm just going to believe that without a great deal of negative instances or incidents in the buildings. And I'm going to do my best to do exactly what the residents elected me to do. Provide oversight over superintendent and make wise decisions regarding budgets. That's our role, and that's what I'm prepared to do. Thank you.
Dr. Early.
I just want to say that I'm really happy to see education in the summertime, because we lose a lot of education from our children because I don't know why. Those weeks go by and they come back and they've lost something. So to see a successful program like Ms. Baskin and her staff has put on is wonderful to see. Also, I want to say I really enjoy when you add crafty things to it, because it helps them create, you know, an extra level of creativity, because some people have book smarts, but other people have creative smarts. And it's really wonderful to see when you combine the two, that it really brings something extra out for the kids. So I'm really happy to see that you did include that in the program this summer. I want to say we had a program at the old schoolhouse, and to see the history of how things have come along, we're making great strides, even sometimes when it don't look like it. It is wonderful to see how they restored that building, but it's also wonderful to see how they were able to progress from a schoolhouse building to different buildings, and we have different levels, and our kids are being taught by specialized teachers. And I just want everybody to buy into school. Buy into school. Let your opinion be known. Come to the meeting and buy into school. We're not going to all agree, but we can agree that our kids need good education. And so Eastpointe is where we need to, we're showing them that we're giving good education. So, thank you.
Mr. Roscoe.
Don't even.
Congratulations, Ms. Baskin, Principal Baskin, to see the joy of young folk, children. I'm sitting here wondering how you guys did it. They were attentive, they were active, and you can see the glow from those children. I mean, it just sets, I think, all of our hearts with joy to see that in the summertime, coming off of a COVID type situation. Just want to commend you on that, all the new hirees and the different programs that we have. And enough has been said. I mean, what else you can't duplicate what was already heard or said. So I just want to stop there and welcome back students and teachers and staff, and let's go to work.
Okay, everybody said they're welcome back. So, you know, every time I hear welcome back, I always think of that program that we kind of grew up in. And Horseshack, remember? We won't even talk what Vinnie Barbarino used to say all the time, up your rubber hose, remember? Anyways, I think of that, but it's kind of humorous, but in general, it is. It's really nice to see everybody back. And that young man in that summer program, as I think the kids like to call it, they don't like to call it summer school, I said, right? They like to call it the summer program. But that young man writing on the board, too, man, he sure looked pretty comfortable up there, didn't he? I mean, he really looked comfortable. And as he was doing that, I'm thinking to myself, that's got to be a whole lot better than writing onto a chalkboard. Remember when we used to have to write onto that chalkboard, how messy it was and how it could make some pretty crazy sounds and stuff? And that just seems so much nicer and smoother that they can do that pretty easy. And then finally, I just want to let you know that the superintendent and myself, we meet before these meetings on a regular basis now. We started before the last meeting, and we'll discuss some topics and things like that, or stuff that may come up for future meetings. And I'll report out if there's ever anything to report out. I'm not going to tell you that we talked about the score of a football game or something like that or whatever. So, but we do plan on, right now, we recognize and we both really enjoy and we like the fact that this board wants to be engaged in this district far more than previous boards that I've ever been involved with sitting up here in the past 18 years. And we really appreciate the fact that that's happening. But what we'd like to do is we're going to put it on, and I want to give you a heads up now so you can start thinking about it prior to the next meeting. But we're going to have a bit of a discussion as far as establishing some guidelines as to how we do that, to make sure that we're all making sure that it's effective and we're all pulling in the same direction. We don't want to discourage it. We just want to make sure that we're doing it effectively, okay? So start thinking about it. So what I envision at this point is us discussing, probably come up with some draft of some kind of rough guidelines and to try to clean them up and have them ready for a meeting after that, so we have some guidelines that we will follow as a board when we go into, into the buildings where we're going to engage people within the district and stuff like that. So, I mean, it just makes sense to me because we can't just be freelancing, doing what every one of us wants to do whenever we feel like doing it, right? We kind of all got to be doing the same type of thing, right? So having guidelines would help us. And maybe we'll even be nice if we each had a little cheat sheet, so whenever we decide we want to do something, we can look at the guidelines and say, well, what do we need to do in order to make sure we can involve? Because like I know there's a couple board members down here that want to bring some resources to the district as far as, I mean, you got a young men's program that you're involved with. I know you're involved with Hats Not Hates, I think it's called, right? Yes. Yeah, and so I know you want to get involved, and there's other resources, grants, various things that the board would like to bring. We want to make sure that we're bringing all of that in an effective manner, okay? So, just a heads up, so that will be on the agenda at the next meeting. If there's nothing else, we'll adjourn at 19?
7:16.
7 what?
7:17.
You guys are looking at, I'm looking at that. Well, that meeting was